I know it feels like an eternity ago. Remember on Tuesday I said the computer wasn't working?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, between Tuesday and now, I still
Hmm.
haven't fixed it, and I completely forgot about it until I opened the laptop, and I'm like, oh yeah, this thing
Right.
doesn't work. It's on an insider build, and what happens, and I don't know if it's related to this particular app, but like it boots up, gets into Windows just fine. But as soon as the Xbox app tries to launch, it takes down the whole system.
Can you hear the dog barking? Who's standing right next to me barking?
This is about my Xbox app, Paul.
I can't hear you. This is a dog barking. Sorry, what did you say?
Dear listener, this is what I try.
Yeah, I
Every
can
time
see.
the Xbox
Lap.
Lab, Xbox
Yeah.
app on the other laptop that I typically use for this podcast launches, it
Hmm.
it knocks the system over. Like it completely hoses it, freezes.
Really?
That's what happened on Tuesday. I don't know. So I got to figure out how to fix this because you boot up and then soon, like it's just in the startup process. As soon as the Xbox app opens, I don't know, it locks the machine up.
Oh, don't let the Xbox app open.
I don't know. But the problem is it's like a timing thing. I got to figure out how to get that Surface Book 3 back into like not safe mode, but I don't know, some sort of mode.
Yeah.
So now I'm using my other laptop, which is fine, but I don't like to use this one because it's what I use for work. And you know what I mean? Like it's this one stays in the backpack. So, anyways, how you been? It's been a
Okay. Drove to Boston yesterday.
mm-hmm.
We left at 7 o'clock in the morning. We're trying different strategies for making this drive suck less.
Mm-hmm.
It was okay. 5 hours, but I mean, to this location, I mean, we could do it in as little as 4 if there was no one on the road but us. But it's the first time we've experienced this thing where like the ETA kept going up and up and up.
Oh
It
yeah.
went orange and then red, and we were like 45, 50 minutes off track. And then it started going down again, like clearly traffic accident,
Mm-hmm.
something, whatever. And we got here exactly at the original estimated time, even with a stop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like it was this weird, weird, but it ended up being okay. But I don't know. I can't do these drives anymore. I'm so tired of everything.
Something kids these days will never understand, but I'm sure you
Yeah.
will.
Hmm.
Like the early days are like when you'd go buy a TomTom GPS, like that big thing you would like put the
Hmm.
suction cup on your windshield and put in there and whatever that was not connected to the internet. And so you whatever you
Right.
punch in your
I think you
navigation
would
time.
sync it right before you left or
Yeah.
something, and
Yep.
it would get
Yeah,
the
you
latest
get the
data or
maps or
whatever.
whatever, and you punch in the time, and
Hmm.
it would tell you what time you were going to arrive, but it would never do what you just did. And so you always had the mental game of like, we got to beat that
Yeah.
time because it's not going to update. If we drive faster than the speed limit, we'll beat that time.
It's weird because I don't know how Google does this, right? Because on I-78 or I-95, wherever we are at the time, everyone drives like 80 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the speed limit might be 55 or 65, depending, but it's basically like 80 miles an hour, when possible, when it's not like super bad driving. And it doesn't matter. You could go 80, go 55,
Yep.
get in there at the same time. It's like it's, I feel like we've crossed over from physics into magic.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's interesting. I do that. Well, you must do this. You drive long distances. You look at the ETA. You look at you keep looking. You look. You do the mental math. You like we're down a minute. We're up a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is. Yeah, that's the only way I stay sane during these trips. I do like math the whole time. I'm just sitting there doing math. You know what I mean? It's very strange. I don't know.
It's the little things in life that keep you sane from
Yeah, the
whatever.
little things like my little brain, that needs like stupid little things to occupy it.
I always do the half game in my head, right? So if it's
Yeah.
a 4 hour drive, you're like, all right, we just got to make it to 2 hours because if we get to 2 hours, then we're halfway there. And then when you're at 2 hours,
Yeah, yeah.
I do half. It's like, okay, we only get it one more hour, and then we've half the half. And then it's down to 30 minutes. Like,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. You look at these milestones, right? 2 hours left, 1 hour left, 30 minutes left. Yep. We my my brother and I had seasons tickets to the Celtics for many, many years, and this is like one of those things. Like if you ever go to professional sports games, but in particular this stadium, like when there's 2 minutes left in the game, this voice would always come on the intercom, and he would go, "2 minutes. There are 2 minutes remaining in the game." So like every time we get an Uber,
Mm-hmm.
I
Oh.
sit there looking at the phone, and when the guy's 2 minutes away, I go, 2 minutes. There are 2 minutes remaining in the game. My wife looks at me like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm like, shut up, you're not my brother. So yesterday we were driving and I literally looked down. It was on two, it just said 2 HR, like it was
Mhm.
exactly 2 hours. And I'm like, 2 hours. There are exactly 2 hours remaining in the game. This
Speaking of
is
things that are somewhat relevant, there's a report out that Microsoft's a little uneasy, if you will, about
mhm.
OpenAI, going over to
You guys,
Apple
you
and
said you had an open marriage. Can't get upset when they
oh god,
go,
there's one way to
just saying.
it will go down as my best tweet in, I don't know, the past 24 months. It says Microsoft
Okay.
gave OpenAI $10 billion to launch a Mac app first.
Yeah. Right. I look, both these companies are going to partner with other companies.
They
That's the
have to.
business model. Right. So yeah, Apple's a tough one, right? Apple or Google also a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
Google's not going to. Well, that would be
Google's not going to do
when
it.
the
No.
Google is not going to partner with OpenAI. But look, it's hard. Microsoft's tough. I want to celebrate in a way their aggressiveness, right? When Satya Nadella about a year ago or so was like, we want to make Google dance, stupid, really,
Mm-hmm.
right? This last event they did where they said MacBook a million times. Yeah, I mean, I want to appreciate and celebrate even that you're going after these guys head on, but this has never worked well in the past. Making fun of the iPhone didn't work out for them. The funeral they had with when Windows Phone came out for the iPhone, like part of me is like, I like the aggressiveness,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, be careful,
Right.
So look, whatever.
I don't know. It probably works out Microsoft's favor. You know, find the silver lining, if you will.
This
Because like,
is by losing they win because
yeah, there's that, and then like the FTC stuff. It's like, look, we didn't stop them from going to Apple. Like, we're not
yeah,
whatever.
I I don't know. I think for Microsoft, this is true in Xbox as well. Remember, Sony was, or it maybe still is, going to partner with them on Azure to do some kind of game streaming service. And it was like, okay, so this PlayStation thing is going to beat the Xbox thing, but because it's on Azure, Microsoft sort of still wins, right? Like, look, they know that, but they still have this desire to be like this customer facing brand that people care about and choose and not electricity,
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, I think the future is kind of electricity, because I think everyone's just going to have AI. You know, we can dick around about the details for a little while, but it's just we're just trending in this way, right? Like if you have a photo app or whatever it is, you have to have AI.
Yeah.
If you're going to do edit photos, you're going to be able to remove backgrounds, replace backgrounds, blur backgrounds, do all that stuff. But this is just baseline functionality, or it will be, right? If it isn't already. I don't know. They might be better off as electricity, like
Mm-hmm.
infrastructure. I mean, but they still, I like the sign of life, I guess. Like they still want that thing. They're not going to get it, but I appreciate the effort. That makes sense. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
When is WWDC? It's not next week, is it? It's the week
It's a
after.
week from Monday.
Okay,
It's the
good. Because
10th,
I'm
I
gone
want
all
to say.
next week, so that is actually good.
Right. Yeah. So tell us again. I don't
I'm
remember if you
going
mentioned
just
this
down to
on
the
air, but
Caribbean, Punta Cana,
yeah.
for a week
Okay.
of reading books. It's a book you've already read, After Steve.
Mhm. Yeah. Yep.
So I
Yeah.
bought
It's
it
been a
when you were
while,
talking
actually.
about it, and I bought another book
Mhm.
before that. So now I'm and I bought the
Yeah.
literal book.
That might be, I'm actually glad you brought that up. I might reread that now because a lot of time has passed and
Mm-hmm.
we're in kind of a different era.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. It'd be interesting to see what parallels there are, like with what's happened since.
Yeah, and then there's kind of, I don't want to say rumors, but like the talk of like, when's the next CEO change going to happen at Apple, right? Tim's
Hmm.
been around for a while now.
I just I've been for something I wrote. I think it was about the iPad. I wrote something about the iPad when people were freaking out about the iPad Pro and why isn't it better. And I went back and I rewatched a bunch of parts of keynotes that dealt with iPad right over
Mm-hmm.
the first 7 years ish, And Steve Jobs is still alive at the beginning, obviously, but they would do these shots of the crowd, and at the time, like I don't know that I could have picked Tim Cook out of a crowd at all. But today you're like, oh, there's Tim Cook sitting in the audience next to Phil Schiller and whatever
Yeah.
else, right? And back then the guy had like dark gray hair probably, and like you sort of don't appreciate like how much people change over time until you see them like
Mm-hmm.
not quite 20 years ago, but 15 years ago, whatever. And yeah, he's getting up there. I mean, he's in great shape and everything. But he's been, what is it, 2011, right? It's been
I
20,
just pulled it up since
13
August
years.
of 2011.
I mean, Steve Jobs came back probably, what was that, 99, 98, something like that, became CEO or ICO and then CEO. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's possible and I guess probable that Tim Cook has now been CEO longer than Steve Jobs was.
Hold on, let's find out. Let's see if Google tells us.
Yeah. This
How
is a job for
long
AI.
was
How
Steve?
long was Steve Jobs CEO of Apple? You know that Steve Jobs was responsible for removing the word computer from both Next and Apple.
Hmm.
There's a fun little fact for you.
It doesn't tell you like a little blurb like it usually does.
Well, just look up when did Steve Jobs become ICEO. I would, if you want to include that, and you
Yeah,
should, right?
it did.
But just when he came back, and he's pretty much running the show from the beginning, right? I mean, when was that? 97, 98?
97 to 2004? No,
No, no.
that's what it says. All about Steve.
I mean, wouldn't a Wikipedia entry have this information? If I went to, love that we're doing this live.
I don't know.
Born in 1955. Wikipedia. Mm-hmm. Known for, apparently this guy did some stuff.
Yeah, he did a few
Uh,
things, just a few.
he returned to Apple in 1997, and then it literally doesn't say anything about him becoming. Okay.
So if he returned in 97, so let's just
I
say
know, but he became
generously.
like, okay, so 97, that's 14 years ish. I mean,
Yeah.
so it's still longer than, all right. So, Tim Cook's closing in on that
Yep.
time. Formally named interim chief executive on September 16. I guess that was 97. So, yeah, actually, it has been longer or was longer than Tim
Yep.
Cook's.
Right about.
But they're getting close. Getting close.
I think it's fair to say Tim Cook has done a decent job, at least from a growing the
Yeah.
bottom
Yeah.
line.
I used to compare him to Steve Ballmer because in many ways he's kind of a non-engineering steward of a
Mm-hmm.
company that maybe should be engineering focused. But obviously Microsoft was hugely successful during that thing, but the big thing for them was like the stock price,
Right. It was
just kind of
$35
not going
for.
anywhere. Yeah,
Yeah.
over whatever that time period was. Tim Cook presided over the biggest expansion of corporate wealth, I think, in history. Right? They became the biggest company in the world, second overall, but first American company, $1 trillion market cap, et cetera, et cetera. So kind of hard to argue with the success. But then again, what's the biggest product release under him? Right? What are we talking about here? Like, Apple Watch, Vision Pro.
No, it's
So like
either
they
Apple
did, well,
Watch or AirPods.
Silicon Mac transition, but that's just, I mean, that was just continuing the work they did previously
I mean, I
with,
think it's fair to say under Tim Cook, they've hit a bunch of singles, like real consistent
yeah,
singles. The iPhone was
yeah,
a home run, right? And everything.
yeah.
Tim
No,
Cook
everything
had,
since has been less. I mean, for
yeah.
sure. Yeah, yeah.
Tim Cook had the massive benefit of
Oh,
coming in after they just launched a once in a generation product
that's right.
and was able to
But
build that product into a portfolio of really
yes,
good
affect products and
devices.
services. I mean, the services
Yeah.
business, which is now their second biggest business, wouldn't exist without the iPhone. But the Smart Move and you know, obviously successful. I mean, so yeah, I mean, look, you could be grown rich into a rich family and inherit $1 billion and then drive it into the ground. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, he expanded on
Oh, yeah.
their wealth and status and whatever. I mean, dramatically. So it's kind of hard to. I don't have a lot of complaints there, other than, well, that's not fair. I have some complaints, but well, no, I mean, and I don't mean that in a dickish way. I mean, like like the iPad Pro deserves better, not Mac OS, but it deserves some actual Pro capabilities that would make this thing elevated to a true Pro device, for
Mm-hmm.
example. I mean, that's a minor, that we're talking about one product there, I mean, whatever, but I don't know. I don't know. It's all like, you couldn't point to someone else and say that guy would have done a better job. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
See, that's the thing. It's like,
yeah,
who, like,
nope,
who could have done it better? and made them
Mm-mm.
more profitable. I don't know.
No, I don't think anyone. This is a once in a generation, lifetime, whatever. I
What
mean,
if, what
feat.
if Steve Jobs' legacy was truly that he just picked his best successor and that was his actual
Oh, that's wow. Oh, well,
better
okay,
than
yeah.
anything he ever did for the brand was actually picking the next CEO and he picked right.
And he knew he picked him right because when he was sick and was out, and Tim Cook acted as interim CEO, Jobs was not happy with how well he did and
Mm,
how many accolades he got for his performance, right? And maybe that's the best measure of it. It's like maybe you know,
yeah,
like it's like maybe I didn't want someone who's going to eclipse me, you know. Not that anyone ever really would, right? But
yeah.
interesting.
Yep, yep, yep.
Well, you have a good vacation, sir.
Yes, let's hope that fingers crossed that flights leave on time and everything goes well. Because last time we took the same flight, it was delayed on both ends. Like I think
You're
it's like
doing
90
like
minutes getting out
this,
and 2 hours coming
You're on
back.
like Bob's airline though, right? Isn't
What's
aren't you
that?
doing like Allegiant stuff or something? Are
Oh,
you
on the way
flying like
back? No, it was there. So we're flying Allegiant, which is
yeah?
top tier aircraft or airline, whatever. They're fine. They're fine. We were sitting on the tarmac in Punta Cana. The reason
Mhm.
getting out, and one plane needed a life a life jacket thing. You know the things that go under the seat or whatever.
What are
And
you, the Titanic?
I know
Like
that's and so the paperwork and everything that had to be done and short TLDR to like move that over was significant.
a life jacket?
I think it was a life jacket. Then they gave us something back, and so like it's
Hmm.
there was a lot of paperwork, and it took no joke, I like 2 hours sitting on that tarmac. So
Uh, yeah, that's no good.
with the door
Well,
open, by the way, I will remind you because they can't close the door because then people start getting paid and can't have that. And
hmm
you ever know it's humid down in the Caribbean this time of the year, Paul? Is this?
hmm I'm sure they were cranking the AC.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The old handy AC.
You know, the AC on planes never works unless it's like at 40,000 feet or
Yeah.
whatever. It's like, I don't know.
So,
Oh,
anyways,
good luck.
back in a week or so.